Swadika, good morning and welcome to Newsline. I'm Chalapansa Narula. Thank you for watching us on Wednesday's edition, June 24th of 2015. And here are today's news. The Prime Minister of Thailand attended the 6th Ayeyarwady Chao Phraya Mekong Economic Cooperation Strategy or ACMES Summit in Naypyidaw, Myanmar, to meet with other heads of state and discuss cooperation within the ACMES framework and in the future. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha said that Thailand has made great strides to adjust its rules and regulations to work seamlessly with ACMES member states. He added that the success of ACMES sets the pace for the upcoming ASEAN Economic Community. The Prime Minister pushed for greater cooperation in developing the region as an ASEAN stronghold and increasing connectivity within the region and to the rest of the world. The Thai government has invested in transport infrastructure to link member nations and brokered agreements for cross-border cooperation and regulatory integration between various countries. General Prayut announced that Thailand will move forward with ACMES member nations to join the ASEAN Economic Community and unite as a regional production base. Thailand is a signatory of the Naypyidaw Declaration on the realization of ASEAN Community by 2015 and the ACMES Plans of Action 2016 to 2018. The Plan Action commits member countries to enhancing production as a regional unit. The Premier said he saw the summit as an opportunity for each leader to brief one another on their country's progress and work together to achieve tangible results within a clear time frame. Meanwhile, on drought crisis, the Thai Prime Minister expressed concerns over the ongoing drought disaster in yesterday's cabinet meeting. He urged all ministries and subsidiary authorities to prepare data and measures for discussion in the Economic Cabinet meeting today. According to Deputy Spokesperson of the Prime Minister's Office, Colonel Sansern Kaew-Kamnert, on Tuesday the Cabinet discussed the water situation in Thailand, especially the critically low volume of water in dams nationwide. Minister of Agriculture and Cooperatives was then assigned to drill new groundwater wells to relieve people's hardship. The Interior Minister was entrusted to explain to local residents the water situation in order to prevent more controversy in water usage. The Cabinet also approved a financial subsidy of 1,000 baht per rai to 37,402 rice farmers on the eastern coast of the south. As for 2,091 farmers who have already registered for the subsidy but have not received the money due to incomplete documentation, the Cabinet assigned the Bank for Agriculture and agricultural cooperatives to expedite the subsidy distribution. Meanwhile, Interior Minister Anupong Paujinda has expedited assistance measures for people in the drought-affected areas to ensure enough water for public demand. Drilling new groundwater wells is one prospective measure for areas facing critical water shortage. The minister has assigned all local authorities to provide nationwide data of current water situation and predictions of future needs of water. They should draw up additional response plan in case of water crisis. All assistance measures will be finalized at the Economic Cabinet meeting on Wednesday, 24th of June, which is today. Provincial governors have been ordered to clarify actual situations of water in particular areas after controversies occurred in some areas. Now to legalizing casinos. According to Vice President of the National Legislative Assembly or NLA, Surathai Limbulerchai, the lawmakers do not have the authority to deliberate the matter pertaining to gambling legalization. Mr. Surathai said legalizing casinos is excluded from the reform framework as well as the 2014 interim constitution. Therefore, it is not something the lawmakers would table in the plenary sessions. In addition, he said the current laws that Thailand has in place do not open doors for such a move. If legalizing gambling were to come to realization, responsible agencies would have to officially ask the legislature to deliberate a few acts such as the Gambling Act. Nonetheless, he said, even if the act were to be revised, it does not mean that other laws will allow gambling to be conducted legally. Meanwhile, the National Reform Council has approved the report related to the formulation of national strategies and the proposal of a related draft law. During its main meeting on Tuesday, the NRC deliberated the report from the Public Administration Committee, which involves the formulation of national strategies and the Draft National Strategies Act. The NRC voted 201 to 3, with 5 abstentions, to approve the report, and voted 190 to 8, with 11 abstentions, to approve the draft law. Chairman of the committee in charge of the formulation of the national strategies, Thirayut Law Lertrat, told the meeting that the strategies which will be planned are intended to help move Thailand towards the status of a developed country through more concrete implementations and a clear-cut goal. Now to the CDC, a group of consumer activists have urged the Constitution Drafting Committee, or CDC, to include in the new charter an independent body to protect Thai consumers. CDC Chairman Bawonsak Uwano met with representatives from a group of consumers who have had adverse experiences from users of goods and services. The group has submitted Mr. Bawonsak a letter which asks for a provision in the draft constitution that authorizes the setting up of a new independent organization tasked with the protection of consumers and related reform efforts. The petition followed a suggestion from the Cabinet to remove such a stipulation from the draft charter. Mr. Bawonsak said that the consideration of group's petition will have to wait for the CDC's deliberation of all proposed changes from all related groups to complete first. As a busy destination and transit hub, Suvarnabhumi Airport has stepped up measures to prevent the spreading of the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS, to limit the chance of the virus entering the country after the first MERS patient was found here in Thailand. Suvarnabhumi Airport installed thermoscan infrared cameras under supervision of health officials to screen the body temperatures of incoming passengers who might have been exposed to the virus. Head of International Infectious Disease Control of Suvarnabhumi Airport, Dr. Vichan Pawan, explained further that the thermoscan infrared cameras have gone into service since June the 2nd at immigration zones at the airport, as the airport activated early precautionary measures.
This machine we call the thermal imaging camera. It is the device to detect the temperature from the body, and we apply this camera to screen the fever among the traveler. If the traveler have the temperature above our sensor level, then our colleague will escort them and check temperature again, whether they have the true fever or they have not fever.
As part of the airport measures, the airport is also providing antiseptic gel at 200 points within the airport, free sanitary masks, information brochure about MERS, and health advisory at different spots throughout the airport. Cleaning staff are assigned to regularly clean every place where passengers visit, including toilets, check-in counters, and even the taxi ranks. Anyone who might come across possible MERS cases or have symptoms or contact with a MERS patient is urged to contact the airport's disease control office at the following number: 02-134-0136. Once again, it's 02-134-0136. Also, precaution measures are being implemented in the Deep South against a possible outbreak of the deadly MERS virus, as more than 10,000 Thai Muslim pilgrims plan to travel to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj in September. The 3 southernmost provinces are at risk for a MERS outbreak, as many members of the community travel to the Middle East for work, tourism, and religious rites most of the year. The local health unit in Songkhla is setting up a special team to monitor those who return from the pilgrimage, sending a medical team to screen passengers arriving at the airport and raising public awareness on the prevention and contraction of the disease. The Ministry of Commerce held a seminar to acknowledge Thai financial sector about intellectual property valuation. Kun Oramon Saptavi-Tham, Deputy Director General of the Department of Intellectual Property, or DIP, said the seminar on the topic of intellectual property valuation for financial collateral was held in a bid to acknowledge financial sector and other related agencies about the issue.
In this Now we invite people, participants from financial institutions, entrepreneurs, so that they can learn how important of intellectual property and to use intellectual property as a collateral to get loan from the banks. Because during the past, before we enact this coming new law, we don't have legal support to use intellectual property as collateral from the bank. So now intellectual property, it can cover trademark, patent on invention and patent on design. The entrepreneur who own this intellectual property can now using this, and learn how to value this intellectual property and use it as a collateral to get money from the bank, so that they can, use the money to pursue their business.
Audrey Yap Su Ming and Chiu Yusan, partner of Yusan Audrey Company, talked more about their experiences enhancing the credibility of intellectual property valuation.
That's a very interesting question. When we talk about IP, in the first place, we need to understand that IP is a form of intangible asset. And therefore, it's very critical to, first of all, be able to appreciate its value. From there, you take the next step then to look at it as one of the possible financial assets that you can look at for raising, for example, monies to grow your business, or to actually develop it as a tool within the business itself to be for competitive advantage. So in other words, what's very important is that there needs to be a mindset shift to look at IP not just as a legal asset, but also as a financial asset.
That the people who have developed this innovation, the Thai people who have done so, are able to own it and are able to, that's why we talk about intellectual property, because you can own something that comes from your mind. And when you own it, then you can be able to transact with it. I think when we talk about valuation, we have to first talk about building the value. Just as when you talk about if you want to list a company on the stock exchange and value it, that company must be built up first. So similarly for a business or an individual or an institution in Thailand that wants to build value in IP, you have to first build it up, develop it, make sure that it's something that you can own, something that you can commercialize, and then you can start talking about valuation and using it as a financial asset.
If you wish to find out more about the intellectual property valuation, please contact the Department of Intellectual Property or DIP at 02 547 6034. 02 547 6034. The Federation of Thai Industries Industrial Sector Confidence Index continued to decline in May due to concerns over the conditions of the economy, the drought crisis, and issues facing the fishery sector. The Federation of Thai Industries President Supan Mongkonsuthi revealed on Tuesday that the Industrial Confidence Index declined to 85.4 in the month of May from 86.2 in April. It was the fifth consecutive month of decline. According to Mr. Supan, the drop was attributable to worries over negative effects of consumer spending, purchasing power, and also the drought situation. Cost of production in the agricultural sector has risen, and concerns linger over the European Union's yellow carding of Thailand's fisheries industry due to IUU fishing. These factors could affect exportation of fishery products and processed seafood. Mr. Supan added, however, that the baht's depreciation has helped rejuvenate the export sector. In the meantime, the Thai economy is expected to improve in the third quarter of this year thanks to the state sector investment projects. Another revision of GDP expectations and other forecasts is expected to take place in the meeting of the Tripartite Committee of Private Sector Representatives. The Ban Mom Pantomime House is located in Ayutthaya Province. The art of making pantomimes as one of the highest form of arts, which requires practice and patience in all of the procedures and also the crafting process. And this house of pantomimes also preserves the art of making pantomimes to the next generation. Here's the special report.
Pantomimes are considered a high form of traditional art that require fusing a number of refined expertise in many branches together. The construction of the pantomime mask is a historical tradition passed on through the generations. To this day, the artistic marks of the beauty of Thai traditions are still alive and well in this form of art. This house of pantomimes is located in Ayutthaya province and is more well known as the Ban Mom Pantomime House, owned by Mom Luang Phung Sawat Suk Sawat, the successor of Mom Rachawong Jarun Sawat Suk Sawat. Mom Luang Phung Sawat began to refine his art at the young age of 10. When he began studying under Thai arts and design, which is the heart of pantomime making, once his education was complete, he worked with his father making pantomimes to this day.
ช่างแต่ละคนก็จะมีรูปแบบเป็นของตัวเอง ปัจจุบันในช่างทำมุกมีเยอะยิ่งในกรุงเทพเยอะแต่ว่าขึ้นอยู่กับผู้บริโภคก็ผู้บริโภคเนี่ยสามารถที่จะเลือกได้ว่าชอบฝีมือของใครก็คงอนุรักษ์รูปแบบของบิดาซึ่งทำมานานแล้วโดยพยายามที่จะไม่เปลี่ยนแปลงรูปแบบทั้งลวดลายทั้งส่วนรายละเอียดของโครงหน้าโครงส่วนยอดก็ยังใช้รูปแบบของบิดาแต่เดิมแล้วก็แม้กระทั่งวัสดุก็ยังคงอนุรักษ์ใช้ของเดิมมา
Mom Luang Phung Sawat Suk Sawat has inherited the art form of making pantomimes and has transformed the art into a family business. With his son and wife as his assistants, while still working in each process by himself, the process begins with forging pantomimes outline from plaster, molding the mimes and leaving it to dry in the sun before bringing them in to begin the cutting process. Afterwards, he brings life to the mimes, starting from the face, editing the patterns, and finally placing gold and gem pieces onto the pantomime. All material used today are those used in the past, to conserve a genuine process of crafting pantomimes. Even today, a number of apprentices of Mom Rachawong Jarun Sawat Suk Sawat still reside in Ayutthaya province. These pupils are ones who have directly been instructed by the Grandmaster of pantomime crafting in person. They retell the experience in their youth, filled with energy and passion for crafting these pantomime masks. Surprisingly, their journey began out of curiosity, wanting to try crafting some work of their own. After seeing the mask drying out in the sun, despite the test of time, the high form of art has been conserved without changes to the production process, placing the art of making pantomimes as one of the most detailed artistic beauties that Thai culture has to offer. This tradition, which represents one of Thailand's unique artistic heritage, is still alive and strong. To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The 8th core value: maintaining discipline and respectfulness of the law and the elderly.
How could you do that to me? Stop it! Huh? Don't you get it? I don't need you anymore. Enough. We're through. There's someone else in my life.
Say no to the past. Bring your own bag. Say no to plastic.
Physical connectivity. Institutional connectivity. And people-to-people connectivity. The power to turn this region into a strong community. Witness the interconnectivity between the 10 Southeast Asian countries in ASEAN Connect via these channels.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. To ASEAN and beyond now. Chiang Rai province has played host to an international academic meeting on emergency medicine in the aftermath of disasters, as well as the first ASEAN-level charity competition for emergency patients. Dr. Anucha Sethasathian, Secretary General of the National Institute for Emergency Medicine, indicated on Tuesday the meeting in Chiang Rai was held to bolster emergency medicine preparedness in the event of disasters on the international scale. Those at the meeting agreed to pursue a single standard treatment of patients in times of disasters. The meeting reviewed each participant country's experiences in handling domestic disaster areas. Representatives at the meeting also agreed to foster a single standard operational guideline in all countries. Emergency response teams from Thailand and 10 other countries in the region will today compete against one another as part of emergency medicine training. Several skills for the aiding patients will be tested under scenarios that include building collapse, chemical leakage, and also floods. Islamic State militants have blown up two ancient shrines they consider sacrilegious in Palmyra, a 2,000-year-old UNESCO World Heritage Site in central Syria, the ultra-hardline Sunni Muslim group said on Tuesday. The report was the first of any damage being done by the militants to buildings in Palmyra since they seized control of the city, also known as Tadmor, in May. Syrian forces have bombed the city and the militants camped within it since then. Before and after pictures showed several militants carrying explosives and the shrines, which are not among the city's monumental Roman-era buildings, reduced to rubble. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a Britain-based monitoring group, said this week that the militants had planted mines in Palmyra, but that it was not clear whether it was preparing to destroy the site or wanted to deter government forces from advancing towards it. And that's all the time we have today for Newsline. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, if you do have any suggestions or any comments, reminding you that our email address is newsline.nbt@gmail.com. Today we end the program taking you to Chonburi province to see a zoo outreach program which takes animal to children. So let's have a look at those pictures as we end the program today. I'm Cholapan Sanarula. Swadee ka.